When an artist finds their inspiration, many will describe the adrenaline rush they experience as they work tirelessly to convey their creations onto canvas. And when their work happens to be a commentary on an inflammatory chapter in their country's history, it often seems that there is never enough time on their side. Sculptor-artist Dr. Sarath Chandrajeewa works with a speed and passion that would test the stamina of someone half his age. Like many of his fellow countrymen, this 50-year-old Sri Lankan has witnessed the ravages of the civil war that held the country hostage for over 30 years.
All these portraits are all in 20 years' time. So I did a project in 1990 for doing portraits in our country. The concept behind that, the project, was in 1988. There was insurgents in unrest in Sri Lanka, and I mentioned it's a dark chapter in our history.
Living overseas and working towards his postgraduate doctorate, Sarath felt a compelling need to return to Sri Lanka during the height of the Troubles. He arrived only to find himself utterly helpless to do anything about the situation. In his frustration, he let his art find expression.
So killed everywhere, youngsters and people here. And at that time I was in London. I came in 1998. I was very upset for this situation. And same period I heard a lot of youngsters' head cut and displayed around the University of Peradeniya. And I have seen myself 3 heads in the poles in the junction of, in the way of my home. So I was shocked.
Each bust here represents the portrait of a Sri Lankan who has excelled in their chosen field of expertise. Artists, musicians, politicians, philanthropists, doctors, and scientists are all represented here.
I did the portrait of, in my time, the icons in this country, actresses, scientists, doctors, and eminent people in this country. I took one side in Sir Arthur C. Clarke. He is thinking about 3,000 years. And I did a project in 100 impressions on bronze.
It wasn't just the incredible likeness of his sculptures that caught the public's imagination, but Sarath's incredible speed while immortalizing each of his subjects. And it was one of his most famous sitters who christened Sarath with the nickname of Human Photocopy Machine.
One of my friends, he arranged to meet Sir Arthur C. Clarke, and I started this portrait and I finished within 1 hour. I think one of the best work of the series. And also he observed this and he mentioned, you are like human photocopy machine.
As ever, Sarath is keen to demonstrate his skill for the camera and immediately picks his next subject and pulls the director out from behind the camera.
I can read through your forms, features, minds, and I'm trying to transmit into 3-dimensional medium very fast, because I think the art is not coming from my fingertips, it's coming from my mind.
With a fresh supply of clay and his tools at the ready, the magic begins. Chandrajeewa gained his master's degree from the State Institute of Academic Art in Moscow in 1995, and later in 1999, his PhD. But it's not only sculpture that Sarath uses to convey his art. Still disturbed by the continuing hostilities of the country's civil war, and still feeling as helpless as ever about his inability to do anything about it, Sarath created his Fed Up Intellectual series of paintings.
So finally, I found I am fed up man in this country because I can't do anything for war. I can talk, I can write, I can paint, but pointless everything. All decided in man carrying guns.
After over 30 years of civil unrest, the war in Sri Lanka was finally resolved in 2009. But there was obvious fallout from all those years of conflict. People were now looking to rebuild and repair the damage done to lives and infrastructure. One of the deadliest incidents during those years was the 1996 bombing of the central bank in the city's busy business district. It was one of the darkest hours in Sri Lanka's history.
Because of 1996 bomb blast in front of the central bank of the Colombo. So nearly 42 or 40 people killed, innocent people killed in this bomb blast.
15 years later, as a commemoration of the tragedy, Sarath has been commissioned by the bank to create a fitting memorial. His sculpture depicts a human figure emerging from the ashes of destruction.
So this is a concept of a phoenix. So man arising from the fire and ash. Actually, I gave a very abstract form for this, but with the compromising of the central bank governors, finally we came into the figurative sculpture. This will be going to bronze, and this is a man. I will going to do this in the burn man, but showing the burn lower part of the body, and upper part of the body I will going to be a very fine and a very divine mood.
Sarath's work seems to have come full circle, from the initial creative uncertainties that fueled his early work to the optimism of his recent creations, giving shape and form to what many hope will be a brighter future for Sri Lanka.
If the war is over, but people in unrest in the northern, especially in the northern part of the Sri Lanka, because I think if they are happy living or free living, we are also happy and free. We can say we are living in a happy and free society.
But the day is far from done for Sarath. In the country where he feels he truly belongs, this driven artist feels there is much more to be said about the reconciliation and repair that Sri Lanka must still go through.
I found people can understand what I am saying, so they appreciate and they really understand the feeling behind the paintings and the sculptures, and they appreciate and they can read my mentality and my works. My roots are in Sri Lanka. I have to come and work here because I think when I am here I am more strong.
With his eyes fixed firmly on the future, Dr. Sarath Chandrajeewa's mission to educate and enlighten is far from over.